We're here. We're doing this. Folks,
all right, cool.
Thank you for joining. For those of you who don't know the man here on the screen with me, I got Richard Rawlings from Gas Monkey, Fast and Loud. Richard, thanks for joining us.
Right on, man. Thanks for having me. I'm just adjusting my settings and getting my volume going.
No worries.
We were supposed to do this in the afternoon where we could be drinking beer or something.
I was literally ready to bring up my Miller right now, but I'm like, I don't know if my wife's going to like me drinking in the morning these days. Got to keep it to afternoon only, right?
It's quarantine. You can do anything.
We are under quarantine, so I say it's airport rules, right? You can wear whatever you want. So, like, I'm wearing jammies waist down and drink whatever time you want in the day. So that's how I see it.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I think they just sent me a notice here that they're going to extend it to May 15th. But no, we're shut down.
Okay.
You know, we've got a kind of a merchandise / little museum area that we have that always has some cars in it. People can come by, and I usually try to out and shake hands and all that. So that's completely closed. And then as far as the shop goes, I'm not an essential business. I build hot rods. I don't repair cars or do general maintenance. So we are just dead in the water.
Wow.
Yeah, it was just kind of a crazy idea. I was trying to think of how I could help and what have you. And I just went, you know what? How much energy drink do we have? And we checked the warehouses, and we had a lot, like a whole. I just said empty it out. So I got with a friend of mine that's an executive producer on some shows, Frank Porporino, up in the Northeast, and he got me into New York City and Atlanta, New Jersey, and Trenton. We've got trucks that have gone to like 4 or 5 places up that way. Of course, Dallas, and today we've got a truck going to Fort Worth, and then Miami, New Orleans, Baton Rouge, and we're sending full truckloads to the front lines, either hospital districts, fire, EMS, and police districts all over the nation. And so it's really cool to be in a position to be able to do that. I was a police officer and a firefighter for I was a police officer and firefighter before I was even old enough to drink. And so it's kind of a cause that's near and dear to my heart. And it was pretty cool to get to send all that product out. I've got a few store chains and stuff that are a little pissed off at me because I don't have any stock, but we'll get it back up and running here before long.
That's all right. That's a good cause, man. And I'm sure everyone who's joining us, who is a first responder, I'm sure they appreciate it too. And we appreciate everyone who's out there at the front lines of this. So,
well, it's an expensive product, and these men and women across the board use it. I mean, you got to think about it. The hospital district in New York City, for example, probably spends somewhere in the vicinity of $3 million a month on coffee.
Yeah.
I mean, it's expensive. Oh, I've seen them all a bazillion times. If they come on, I definitely can't turn them off. But I've been coming up to the shop by myself, and we've got maybe a skeleton crew of about 2 people here, and we've just been kind of cleaning up, straightening up. We've been pretty much 100 miles an hour for 8 years.
Right.
We've done 270 something episodes of television in total, and you would be surprised how fast just stuff accumulates. And so we've been taking kind of one section at a time and cleaning out the shop and getting rid of stuff and selling stuff on Craigslist and what have you. I never imagined how much crap I just accumulated.
Yeah, I feel like everyone during this time is doing the stuff they didn't want to do, spring cleaning, yard work, all that stuff right now, right?
Yeah, it's spring cleaning, and it's kind of surreal. This is the first time the shop's been in a standstill in 14, 15 years, and we're just nothing happening. I mean, all the production companies are shut down, so there's no cameras, and I'm pretty much the last 8 or so years of my life, I'm used to a camera from the second I walk out of my home until the second I walk back in it. So that part's been kind of nice.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, I think the part of that building the car was relatively easy for us,
Right.
but the pressure came from knowing that the car was going to have to go perform, and we didn't have 2 weeks like they did. We had 3 days, and we didn't have several cars. We had one, and that car had to make it and not break down. So because there wasn't any backup, and there were so many systems working in place. I mean, San Francisco's never allowed that to happen. Shut down the roads, recreate that whole scene,
Right.
and so it was that part of it was a little tumultuous, but we got through it. The car literally did absolutely perfect.
Oh yeah.
We zero breakdowns, zero problems, and it performed great. And then we were able to auction it off. We partnered with Omaze on that, and I believe it brought in a little over $1.4 million for
Whoa.
charity.
That's awesome. It's like, geez, that's like almost as much as the original.
Yeah, it was pretty cool to see that happen, and Omaze did a great job, and the car's now with a new owner.
That's awesome. I mean, honestly, the fact that it was just one car doing all of that, and Forsberg did not let up on that, right? He was thrashing that thing pretty hard. And the fact that that thing just hung together for however long you guys had to shoot it for was pretty impressive.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't let up, and there, normally we would have had some extra safety equipment in there, but there was nothing but a lap belt, and
But he only had a lap belt on him?
that's all we were building a recreation of the car. So
Holy.
it was tight in there too, because a lot of people don't realize how small the Mustangs
They're
are.
not big inside, yeah.
So he was crammed in there. Yeah, I've got the Mustang. Really good friend of mine asked me if I'd build it about 15 years ago, and I love that show and I love that car. And if you're a Mustang enthusiast, you know the car,
Yeah.
and it's only go for like 8 seconds, but it was such an iconic car. And I know now, since I've had mine, there's been a few been built, but I think when we built it, the original car is supposedly gone.
Right.
It was originally built for a Schwarzenegger movie that didn't happen, or they didn't
No
use
kidding.
it. And yeah, and then they put it into this Thomas Crown show with Pierce Bronson. So, anyways, 15 years ago, long story short, my buddy asked me to build it, and I said, "Heck yeah!" So, I think I charged him around 80 grand to build that car back then, which
Right.
was a sizable sum of money for just a 68 convertible.
Right.
And so when the show came along about 4 or 5 years later, I said, "Hey, can I borrow that car?" And he's like, "Why?" And I said, "Well, I want something sitting around that I built and I sell everything I built." So he sent it up to me from New Orleans, and it had 5, maybe 50 miles on it total since I got it to him. The gas was bad. It was totally run down and dirty and beat up. And he was like, "Oh, it just sits in my carriage house." Which in New Orleans is the equivalent of a barn.
Right.
And so I called him up and I told him what a really crappy car owner he was, and he didn't deserve to have it, and what have you. So the next day, the title showed up in a FedEx, and he goes, "You're right, you can have it." So he gave it to me.
I think the last I saw that personally, I think he brought it to Cars and Coffee up here in Plano, right, just up the road. I think a few other buddies brought like the F40 and the 2000 GT Toyota. And that was the last I saw out in public. So definitely
Yeah.
ride, man.
I think that the episodes already showed where it went full circle.
Right.
So I got it running and driving, and beat the hell out of it for the next 6 or 7 years, and then blew the motor. So
broke down side road.
It kind of went full circle. I became the crappy owner of the car, and so we rebuilt it, and it's updated, to current standards, and it's fun. I love that car. I'll never sell it. I've never seen one in person
No.
of a car or a recreation. I don't even know where the actual car is. I don't know. A friend of mine actually is neighbors with John Travolta, and we've had some discussions about doing it. I think it was last year was the anniversary of the show, and talked about doing it, and it just never happened. It'd be a relatively easy car to do. We just have to find something to do with it after we're done. There's a big market. You know, to tell you the truth, I'd have to Google even what it was. Was it a Chevy?
I don't know. It was so chopped up, I couldn't even tell.
It was either a Chevy or a Plymouth, but I don't remember. I'd have to do a little research. What I am seeing, especially because it's kind of my strong suit, is the 30s are going by the wayside. The new collectors and the new guys that are coming up that are my age, 51, they're not as interested in the Model A's and 32s and 3s and 4s as they were. So that market's taken a big hit. I turned down buying a car back from an individual that at almost half the price that I sold it to him 10 years ago. Because the market's just down in that early stuff, and it's such a niche collector market. Muscle cars, man, they're always going to be muscle cars, and with companies like Roadster Shop and the Willwood brake companies, and they're so you can really build them to drive well now, and you can get that style of a muscle car without crappy brakes and crappy suspension and what have you. You can get in it and drive it like a brand new Escalade. So I think that resto mod, I guess is what you want to call it, is probably the strongest market right now.
There you go. Okay.
It really, really is, as far as the average collector. And then the high end stuff is always going to sell. The Porsches and the Ferraris and what have you. That stuff is just it's overwhelmingly always sellable. Then the high-end market, you've got guys and gals now getting into it as collectors. They're finally seeing cars as art, and so we're seeing these cars sell for 14 million, and that one Ferrari that brought like 30 million and what have you. You're going to start seeing a lot more of that because they're starting to appreciate it as a piece of art. And you're going to see the prices on that kind of stuff go through the roof. And told me a long time ago, you can buy a $10,000 car for $5,000 if you have it in your pocket.
Right.
But my advice, I get that question a lot, and I think that the way that I would say to do it is set a budget that is realistic to you, and then knock 30% off of that budget and try to buy your car for that much, because part of owning a classic car, or part of having a car to play with, is making it your own. And if you go out and spend your entire budget on the car itself, then you don't have any money left to make it your own, and to customize it or to do whatever, or a little more horsepower, a little better wheels, or any of that kind of stuff. So I do a 70-30 split, and then be realistic with what you can do personally. Don't think, oh yeah, I built a car in high school in shop class, I can handle it. You'd be surprised how many cars are sitting right now in somebody's garage where it's been for 30 years because they thought they could build it, and they just, it got in over their head.
I'm one of those people. I'll be one of those people.
Yeah.
So,
Be realistic about what you do, and then, if it's your first time to buy one, it doesn't have to be the perfect one. Think of it as a learning experience, and you're going to learn a little bit on that one and get another one and get another one. It's, a lot of people go into it like it has to be this. It doesn't. Make it and have fun with it. Part of this hobby is enjoying your purchase, not sitting around regretting it, or it's broken and you can't afford to have it fixed.
Right. Well, there you go. I mean, and where were you like 8 months ago? Because I could have used some of this advice here. Because I totally went for the car itself. I went for the full budget, didn't leave anything left. I'm like, and it just sits, or it just sat for a while. I'm like, this is the worst. But there you go. Yeah, if there's an SVT Cobra out there, or White One 94, someone got a good deal on it, because a lot of work went into it, and it just sat there. Well, all right.
So,
well, speaking of your, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead. I'm just hanging out. I'm thinking about that beer. But
If you go grab one, I will grab one right now, and I'll join you. I'll just say that right now.
All right, let's do it. Hey, Sanjay.
Well, you let me know.
Any beer assistant.
Is there a beer assistant? If you got one of those, I need to give me one of those.
Well, they have to throw them to me now because it's 6 feet distance. But yeah, so yeah, give me a beer.
All right, you stay right. You stay right there. I'm gonna run and grab a beer then. Give me 2 seconds, all right? All right, Rollins, I'm gonna run and grab a beer. Be right back. This is you're on your time here.
It'll have to do. Man,
times are tough.
Times are tough. We're out of Miller Lite.
You want anything to store?
Yeah.
Okay. How many cases?
Man, this is why I hate doing live stuff. You guys see me like run off camera and do all this.
Just about $100 worth. Okay, so how about this? I'm actually out of Miller Lite.
Dude,
so
I'm
gonna drink a little.
All right. Well, hey, cheers. Good morning.
Cheers. Boom. Well, you know, it probably has to be black or green, and
right,
and what have you. But Ford, you know, they didn't do me any favors. I had to apply to get it. I had to make the video. Right. I had to send in all this stuff and beg to get the opportunity to buy it.
Right.
And so it was a hefty, very most expensive car I've ever bought ever. But it's a 2020, and you know, you think about the collectability of it, and of course it's, you know, it's worth way more than a sticker. But now they shut down the factory for 2020, and I'm told by Ford they probably won't reopen it this year. So it's going to be the smallest amount of production ever on a Ford product, or you know, even since the 60s. I think there's only like 22 or 24 of them. Mine's number 14. So hopefully that makes the collectability go up a little bit. I haven't got to drive it as much as I'd like to, but you know, hopefully as soon as the weather breaks, I'll get out there and start hammering it, because I do like to drive my cars.
Oh yeah, and we also heard that you're also on a hunt for a Miura. Is that true still?
It was kind of my goal when I got the opportunity. I've always wanted a Miura, and then when they said I could have it for T, I was kind of hoping to buy it, you know, after the appropriate amount of time, flip it for enough money to actually get into a Miura. I would love to have a 1969 Miura.
Right.
And they're finally starting to tick up a little bit. For the longest time, they just sat around $1 million, and now you're starting to see them in the 2 million range, and what have you. To me, I think that car should be between $3 and $5 million all day long. There's not that many of them. They're the most beautiful car ever made, as far as I'm concerned, and they're just sexy. I think they should be a lot more expensive than they are even in today's market.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And you're looking for the later model ones, right? When they kind of got the bigger wheels, right? SVs, right?
Yeah. 69 is just the year you can switch out the wheels, and you know, some people like the dry sump. I know where one is down near Austin, and I've been trying to buy it for a long time. It's a 2-owner car. Guy's had it since like 1972, and hopefully one day he'll let it go. I told him, I said, you don't want your kids to be arguing over who gets this. I said, just sell it to me. You know? It's
for the better of his family, right? Just let's avoid the argument and just sell it to Rawlings, let him have it so we can all see it.
Yeah. Hey, I'll let you in on some cutting news.
All right.
This will be the first announcement. You're getting you know, what do they call it?
A web exclusive?
Yes, exclusive. I have obtained a large collection in Minnesota, just outside of St. Paul area, Minneapolis, St. Paul area. 45, 50-year collection from a guy that was a big flat track racer on motorcycles, but I bought his lifetime's collection. It's everything from toys and memorabilia to signs to about 230 motorcycles and about 100 plus cars. And this is
Holy
nice
cow.
stuff. Crap in the yard or crap in a barn. He has nice buildings. Every motorcycle's nice and clean and sitting there. Everything from like a very, very rare 42 Indian 4 to 32 Fords to we've got a ZL1 Corvette, which is going to just be insane because Jim Fueling helped put it together.
Right.
And just amazing, amazing stuff. And I'm going to be auctioning it all off. It was going to be in June. Probably now will be might even push it to August,
Right.
depending on what with COVID. But we're going to sell it all wall to wall. And it is amazing. I mean, it's got toys for days. When the videos start coming out, it's going to be amazing. It's all buildings just like my shop.
Right.
And it's packed every available square inch. I mean, there's motorcycles in there that are brand new, still in the box. And it's a pretty amazing collection. I'm pretty excited about it. It's kind of like Richard bets the farm by buying the farm, because it's the largest purchase I've ever made. And it's a risk like anything else. And
Right.
hopefully it goes well, because I put it pretty much all on the line.
Well, I mean, that's you. That's what you do. So is this something we're going to expect to see, obviously, next season, right? Season 17? Because we're in season 16 is being aired right now.
Not sure yet. Not real sure yet. We're, with us being down right now for production because of the COVID,
Right.
I'm not sure how it's going to fall into place, if it's going to make it onto the show, or if it's just going to happen before the show gets rolling.
Right. Oh, there you go.
I can't afford to hold it for that long.
Right.
I need to get it pretty quickly. So it's a little tricky. I wasn't expecting this COVID thing when it all went down.
Yeah. Well, obviously you're going to make it work. So we'll just have to wait and hopefully see if we can catch a glimpse of it somewhere, right? But you heard it first. This is exclusive, right? That's a good title.
Yeah, I'm going to be. What was that?
I said this is a good title. Richard buys the farm by selling the farm.
Well, I bet the farm by buying.
Oh, bet the farm, yeah.
Something like that. But I'm going to be releasing some videos here pretty soon, and
cool.
Sheer amount of things is amazing. It's probably 4,000 items, maybe 5. I mean, it's wow.
That's a huge inventory there. You got to move. So, all right.
Well, it's pretty cool because I went up there and negotiated the deal. I went up to buy just maybe something, and I ended up buying everything. I mean, the house, the land, all the buildings.
House now?
I own it, but I ended up buying it all. He wanted to retire. He's 78 years old, sharp as a tack. And he goes, man, I just want to retire. I don't want he's got one daughter. He goes, I don't want her to have to deal with it.
Right.
I said, well, dude, people like me are going to come in and take all the good stuff, and he'll be stuck with all the other stuff. I said, I'll just buy it all. And he goes, cool. And he basically took his clothes and his wife and their personal effects and moved to their other home up in South Dakota.
Well, that's awesome, man. Well, I know we got 15 minutes left. I know you're going to hit the road here in a little bit, so I want to make sure to be aware of the time here.
I'm going to Fort Worth to meet up with the EMS and fire crews there, where we're dropping off a full truckload.
Oh, cool. Awesome.
Yeah. You know what? I will lean towards the validity of it, because there are no rules in Cannonball.
Right. That's true.
You start at Red Ball and you end at Portofino in Redondo Beach, and that's it. There's a couple of other dummies out there that like to claim that they have the record, but they went to Santa Monica, or they went,
right.
They started somewhere different. And to me, you start at Red Ball, you end at Portofino. That's the only rules there are. Get after it. Doing it during COVID, I think I probably, if I'd have thought of it, I'd have said, that's a good idea, because the roads are way less crowded.
Right.
I mean, at the end of the day, we did ours on Mother's Day. So, yeah. And we did that because we thought it'd be less traffic. People were staying at home and staying with mom.
Yeah, there you go. Well, do you think you ever do it again, or do you think that's sort of past? That you've done it, you don't need to do it again?
Done, got the tattoo. That's all I need. It hurt. I mean, Dennis still to this day claims it ruined his eyes.
You're concentrating for so long, right? It's got to take a toll on the body.
We were tired. I mean, and we were worn out. I don't think I'll ever attempt it again. I think it can be done in 24 hours or less, but it would take a pretty hellacious good run.
Yeah, well, I mean, we'll have to see. Yeah, but obviously that record's definitely coming down. There's a lot more people going after it, so looking forward to seeing what happens. But I think the 24 mark, like you said, it's out there. Someone's gonna do it. Well,
I for a fact that there's like a remake of the Cannonball movie. There's a script floating around.
We've heard that. We've heard that too, but I haven't heard anything more than that. I heard it's a rumor.
It's around. I've been telling everybody that I can tell to make sure I'm in it, but we'll see what happens. As far as the news now, we got a new order of garage rehab. But we haven't been able to start because of COVID. And then, we'll have to see what happens with Fast and Loud. And then I've got like 3 other shows in the works.
You're a busy man.
Yeah, we're going to switch things up. And then I don't know if you know, but I have a new show on Disney Plus. And it's called Shop Class.
Okay.
It's pitched for a long time. I came up with it about 3 years ago. And it came out in February. And basically, we take a shop teacher and 2 of their students, and we take about 8 teams, and we put them through all of the trades, whether it's plumbing or pneumatics or hydraulics or electronics or robotics, and we give them tasks to build, a certain item or thing, and then they're judged on their creativity, productivity, and does it work? And so it's a great show. And if you've got, these are, 12 to 15, 16-year-olds, and they get after it. Carpentry, welding, you name it. We put them through the paces.
And sorry, what's it called? It's on Disney Plus?
Shop Class.
Shop Class. All right. Well,
on Plus. I'm not on it. I just created and executive produced it. It was a pretty cool thing to be a part of. I think we'll get a reorder as soon as we come out of this COVID, and we'll do season 2.
That's awesome. Well, you guys, for those of you watching, we all know you're stuck at home, so there's another show for you guys to all go watch. Go see it on Disney Plus. That's awesome.
Man, I don't know, because I've driven a lot of cars and what have you. I guess I'd say the Miura, because I still haven't. I've sat in one, but I've never gotten to drive one. So.
Oh no.
Yeah.
You gotta make sure you drive it before you have to go and buy it, or you're gonna buy it regardless, whether you've driven it or
not. It depends on the car and the provenance that it comes with, but I definitely would like to drive one for sure.
Mm-hmm.
It's announced today. I believe it comes on in the UK like May 22nd.
Okay.
We've got several dates around the UK area. May 4th, May 22nd. So in May, we'll start back up over there.
All right.
Oh, I'd love to. That's actually the expanse of Fast and Loud that I'm trying to make happen, is getting us out of the box that we're in right now. And I'd like to start traveling the world and uncovering cars and bringing them back, and or maybe even travel with my crew and pull it out and build it there in that country or that city. Fast and Loud's had a kind of a recipe forever, and I think it's time to add a little spice to it. So I'm working on some ideologies around that. So Finland, anywhere. But, right now, I'll buy a car anywhere it is in the world if it makes money. I don't know. The best car ever made. That's a hard one. I mean,
it's a hard one.
I don't even know how you would answer that.
Because by class, right? By type at that point.
my mind immediately goes to 32 Ford, because that was when you know, the first hot rods. But you know, every car, geez, I don't know. I couldn't even answer. I like all cars.
There you go.
I'm non-discriminatory.
That's a good answer.
I'd like to get into building more of the 80s and early 90s stuff. Again, that's something we have on the board for you know, future episodes. But as far as that Mercedes, I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's the secret sauce to Fast and Loud is we don't build the same thing. You know, we're not Mustang guys or Volkswagen guys. We build anything that comes across.
Right.
I haven't heard of Radwood. I used to always go down to the Lone Star Roundup, but what's Radwood?
So Radwood, if you haven't heard, Radwood's like this 80s, it's kind of like Goodwood, right? You know, like when people go overseas in the UK and they dress in period correct clothing. Radwood is the same thing, but you're dressing in 80s, 90s clothing. And 80s, 90s cars only. People go over the top.
Oh, dude, I can win that. I've still got my jams. You know, I grew up in the 80s. You know, I graduated high school in 87, so I'll slap on my Ultra Hot sticker on my iRock and get down there and go crazy.
Oh,
this
man.
sounds fun.
Oh, yeah, they did. I know it's at the Circuit of Americas they've been doing it. I think they've done it this last year and the year before that. So, and everyone, I'm not kidding, everyone gets like in super character, like, you know, the puffer jackets, the bleached jeans or acid jeans, the crazy hairdos, there's Countachs and Testarossas and Fox bodies and everything.
Oh, I'm in. If anybody has info, send it to me at info@gasmonkeygarage.com. I'll go to that.
All right. Well, hey, Radwood, I know you guys might be watching this. You guys need to send the info to Rawlings here because, man, he's going to be in. And we're going to need to get down there, too, and make sure we find a car we can bring.
You know, probably the 2005 Ford GT
that was a pretty sick build. Yeah.
It was a wrecked car, and we took it all the way down to, you know, nothing. We took it down to the lowest common denominator and brought it all the way back up. And Air Ride Ride Tech worked with us on getting the air ride correct, and that car just was flawless. I've tried to buy it back for 5 years now, and the guy won't sell it. Believe it or not, he's never even driven it. He bought it at the Barrett Jackson, and he bought a trailer, put it in the trailer, and had it taken to his warehouse where he has a few hundred other cars, and he's still sitting in the trailer. He's never taken it out. I do too. I think you should drive it, and enjoy it, and let other people see it, especially if it's a classic or something collectible. I mean, put it out there and have some fun with it, because part of keeping the younger generations into this hobby is going to be enticing them by showing off your collection. And,
right.
We've got to keep those kids interested, because right now, all they're doing is playing Minecraft and smoking bowls on their couch.
You gotta find a hobby that will just literally take all your money away, and this is a pretty good hobby where you can't get in trouble. You get in some trouble, but not the kind of trouble, not that stuff.
Yeah. It's just I want to get the younger generations into it, and we've got to keep these trades alive. I mean, we've got to get these trade schools filled up, because how many kids do you know that are 14, 15, 16 that are wanting to go learn to weld or carpentry or electronics?
No.
They're just not, and we've got to get them motivated to get back into that.
Amen, man. I mean, we got to keep it alive.
I'll tell the boys out there how it is. Get into cars, because chicks dig it.
They did. That's how I got my wife. Only said yes to go on a date with me because of my car at the time. So she will say it today. It's the only reason she said yes.
That's me and my new girl too. We were supposed to be getting married next month in Greece, but we had matching 599 Ferraris. So, there you go.
That's just as good as a ceremony, right?
Yeah.
Well, hey, Richard, I know you got to get going on the road here. We want to thank you and all you do with, Gas Monkey Garage, Fast and Loud. Appreciate you giving us time today. This is awesome. We had a lot of fun. Got to drink a beer here with you. Hopefully next time we can drive over to the shop and do it in person. But for now, this will do good.
next time we'll do it live. And, guys, we're on for another 6 weeks at Monday night. And keep watching. We got some cool stuff coming along. And if you want to help with what we're doing with the first responders, you can hit donation up at gasmonkeyfoundation.org.
All right. Well, hey, thanks, Richard. You guys heard it here, gasmonkeyfoundation.org. Go check it out. Richard, thanks again. Have a good rest of the day. All right, man?
Cheers, man.
All right. Take it easy. Cheers. We get it. Last one. There we go.
See you
All right,
later.
man. See you guys.